Hello, this is meteorologist Brad Winter from Region Weather Live, your YouTube source for weather across the Dakotas and Minnesota. And we're just going to have a quick update on the system that's starting now tonight, Monday night, going through Tuesday. So let's go ahead and take a look. All right, once again, we got the split screen going on. We got the reflectivity on the left and the accumulating snow on the right. So this is 6 a.m. on Tuesday morning, and we can see how some of the more light to moderate snowfall is beginning to occur from the Twin Cities back down through Mankato and southwestward, kind of back towards Sioux Falls. We're starting to pick up a little bit, accumulation 1 to 2 inch from Sioux Falls up to the Twin Cities by about that time. Now, as we get to that 9 a.m. time frame and move this ahead one more, we can see kind of that area of snow continues basically in the same area. We get a little bit increase down in the southwestern parts of Minnesota as far as accumulation goes. Then as we hit the noon hour on Tuesday, more accumulating snow. We've got a little bit more light to moderate, maybe even a little band of heavy from the Twin Cities northward, maybe possibly including St. Cloud back southwest again, kind of including that Mankato area. Again, we're still looking at that very narrow band setting up. Look at this. Look at the difference between nothing at all to the main band of snow in here. Very small, very narrow area right in through here, really on both sides. So still, it's kind of one of those scenarios where if that track shifts just a little bit north or southward, that's going to mean a big difference as far as some of you for the amount of accumulating snowfall you're going to get. But so far, it looks to be on track from what we were looking at last night accumulation-wise. So shouldn't be any surprises, but just got to throw that caveat in there as we go along. Moving along as we get to about 3 p.m. Tuesday, and that snow continues to accumulate. We get a little bit more the light to moderate stuff up across Duluth and across the southern shore. A little bit now getting a little bit lighter still down in through the Twin Cities area. However, it's still going to be snowing at this point by 3 p.m. on Tuesday. And then once we get to 6, it looks like it's moving out just a little bit quicker from the Twin Cities area. I think last night I said it looks like it's still going to be snowing come your rush hour home. Maybe some flurries possible still, but looks like the main band by that point has moved through. However, these areas up in the northeast, we got kind of a wraparound going on up in the far northeastern parts of Minnesota. So we're going to be expecting a fair amount of accumulation up around Grand Marais and those areas up in the far northeastern parts of Minnesota. Through the day on Tuesday. Here we are at 9 p.m. And as I said, that little bit of wraparound continues across the northeastern parts of Minnesota. And then approaching midnight, it looks like most of that snow now has moved on out. And we're pretty much done with the accumulating snowfall by about midnight Tuesday night, early Wednesday morning. So here's the new map, pretty similar to last night. About the only thing I did is pulled this yellow, this 2 to 4, just a little bit further to the south to kind of clip Rochester a little more. This 1 to 2 inch maybe got dragged just a little bit further south and eastward as well. I also pulled this 4 to 6 just a little bit further back to the south and west. So more of the metro area, it looks like you got a better chance for picking up that 4 to 6, maybe even a little more, depending on how strong some of those bands are. But boy, it's really looking very, very close to what I was looking at last night. And then about the only other thing, I think I expanded the 2 to 4 just a little bit back into some of this part in South Dakota. And then I did eliminate the heavier snow leaking into southern parts of Minnesota, or South Dakota rather. I think maybe the heavier bands will stay just a little bit further south of South Dakota. But otherwise, the remaining areas here in green, we're just looking at a trace to maybe an inch, just some flurries and some light snow affecting you. This is now running into Wednesday morning here as what we're looking for accumulations. And we're still going to be dealing with those winds, and the snowfall is basically right in through here is going to be the main band. And as we go once again through the day on Tuesday, kind of what I've said yesterday, winds are going to be picking up out of the northwest at 30, maybe 40 miles per hour eventually as we get a little bit later in the day. That's a horrible arrow, by the way. Let's make a better one. Out of the northwest. There we go. And that's so we're going to be causing some blowing and drifting in with the areas of snowfall, probably picking up or probably making road conditions slippery as well. And then that really doesn't diminish as we go through the overnight hours Tuesday night and into Wednesday. You can see those winds continue on 30 to 40 miles per hour, and in fact pick up a little more through the overnight hours across Lake and Cook counties. And then as we go through the day, even on Wednesday, much of the day on Wednesday, those winds continue up in the northeast, diminish down in the south. But boy, those of you up and through here, between the amount of snowfall you're going to be receiving, looks like gusts 30, 40, maybe even 50 miles per hour at times. I think there's going to be some tough sledding up in the far northeastern parts of Minnesota throughout the day on Wednesday. And so there's the current weather advisories and storm warnings. Winter storm warning basically from the Twin Cities northeastward right now until 6 p.m. on Tuesday evening. Winter weather advisory for all those of you in the purple. That goes just depending on where you're located and ends a little bit earlier in the west, and then it kind of gradually moves eastward. So areas around the Twin Cities actually end at 9 p.m. Tuesday evening with this weather advisory as it sits right now. Would not be surprised at all if some of this gets expanded up across the northeastern parts of Minnesota. I very much think that will happen. Probably through the overnight hours, they will update that and issue some warnings and weather advisories for your locations up there as well. And so otherwise, we're looking dry Wednesday, Thursday, and even as we get into Friday morning, not a whole lot going on when it comes to snow. And those winds decreasing from west to east throughout the day on Wednesday. And then as we get into Thursday, we got another little band that kind of moves west to east throughout the day. These are going to be more southerly winds as the gradient kind of tightens up and we get a reversal of flow. So these winds will actually be out of the south here, gusting 30, maybe 40 miles per hour once again throughout the day on Thursday. And then they diminish through the overnight hours and become a decrease through the overnight hours. And then it looks like it really picks up through the Black Hills region and up in through Wyoming. So that might be something we'll have to keep an eye on as we get into Friday morning for those of you in western parts of South Dakota. And yes, we're still tracking another storm running through North Dakota, South Dakota, northern parts of Minnesota. And they actually sped it up just a little bit as we get a little bit later in the day on Friday. It's not so much Friday night into Saturday. It's more later in the day on Friday. And you can see right now where the main track is. Looks like most of the heavier snow is across North Dakota and across northern parts of Minnesota. We're going to have a strong northerly gradient once again, ushering in more cold air behind this system. And so very likely going to be seeing some blowing and drifting. So it's just a matter of where exactly some of the heavier snow bands set up. But with that said, right now it looks like the models are in fair agreement that North Dakota, northern Minnesota seems to be sort of the bullseye for this one as it quickly moves eastward throughout the day. Like I said, late Friday and then going into Saturday morning. And so we got a little bit of a roller coaster of temperatures going on over the next few days as this system moves through, drags in some colder air for Tuesday. We're going to be looking at highs generally in the teens, the 20s, still remaining a little bit warm down in the far southeastern parts of Minnesota for Tuesday for a high. And then on Wednesday, generally teens and 20s across the entire area. For Thursday, your highs warm up across the south. We're looking at 50s across southwestern parts of South Dakota, but 20s across the north. And then as we get into Friday, a little bit cooler air works its way back in, teens to even single digits across the northern parts of the Red River Valley. And then by Saturday, warmer air works back in across the south, teens and 20s in the north. And then Sunday, back down again. Single digits in the north, 20s in the south. Looks like Sunday is going to be a fairly cold day for a weekend. So those of you in the Twin Cities, looks like we're going to be having some tough travel conditions for your morning commute, and actually probably throughout the day and into the evening commute as well. We're going to be dealing with plenty of snow, some blowing and drifting, and that might persist in through Wednesday morning because those winds really don't lighten up very much. So travel conditions across portions of southeast South Dakota, southern parts of Minnesota could still be dangerous just due to the blowing, drifting, even into Wednesday morning. And then, of course, that northeastern parts of Minnesota as well. Looks like you're going to be getting plenty of snow up there. And then we're going to keep an eye on this next system that's going to be rolling through for Friday and into Saturday morning. So beyond today, probably we'll take a little bit closer look at it tomorrow and for sure Thursday. So make sure you subscribe down below so you know when I've uploaded a video just like this, so you can stay on top of all the weather, including what's going on for you tomorrow with all the snow. And then with this next system running through our region for the weekend, running into the weekend. So if at all else, just hit the thumbs up button that tells me you like it. Appreciate the video, and for me doing this, I would appreciate you doing that. So all right, everybody, I think that's enough rambling on for the night. For Region Weather Live, I'm meteorologist Brad Warner. Everybody have a good day, and for those of you down in southern Minnesota, stay safe and drive slow.